these men, women, partners in your life in this journey that have been watching from the stands and getting in the game as well because of your leadership, who have soared to heights. In this trajectory of success, you've learned a lot. You're in high school, you're 14. What are you telling yourself? What you get after all these years of learning that your fans or even the people that have been now in the arena because of your leadership, they don't know fully. You know it, that you're going to tell yourself. You're in freshman year of high school, sophomore year of high school. What's that conversation look like with yourself, knowing everything that you know today to start this new story?
When I was a freshman in high school, I lived in a town that was segregated monetarily, a tourist town. And I was in a group of kids, that were divided up by aptitude. There was about 25 of us. And pretty much everyone around me was affluent. And, it was opulence, and it was, the outskirts of the trailer parks and penury of, societal segregation from a monetary level. And listen, I had great parents, teenage parents, that had done incredible things and made incredible sacrifices for me. And by all means, looking back, I could see the wealth we had came really morally from the fiber of who we were. We sat for dinner. We went to church on Sundays. We did right. We were good people. We lived in a clean home. There was always food on the table, and there was no strife or struggle. They hid whatever that was. We really were sheltered from all of that. But in the bigger view of things, there was so much we couldn't do. There were ski clubs, and there were foreign travel clubs, and our school was such that we were sitting on the sidelines of all of this. And so I knew as a freshman, already I felt the pressures of going to college, and I knew I couldn't afford to go. And it was something that made me sick in my stomach all of my high school years, because everyone in my 25-person class was going to go to college. And I felt FOMO at 14, anticipating 18. And I would have great guidance counselors who I would be able to express that to and say, I'm not going to get to go to college, so why do I take French, or why do I take calculus, or why do I do this? And they said, I had this great guidance counselor, and she said, I want you to go to every sport. I want you to letter in all 4 sports. I want you to do extracurriculum. And I did. I was in student council. I was in Students Against Driving, drunk, all the extra, because you got to get great grades. It's got to be, you've got to work your ass off, but there's going to be a moment when you're a senior and you're going to be able to, get scholarships or whatever. And so I got accepted to all the colleges I applied for. This is a bittersweet part of this story. I had great grades. I did all the things that she asked me to do. And it would come down to like scholarship night. And I had applied. I was working at a Century 21, ironically, on the weekends as a secretary, which was my first toe into the real estate world. And she said to me, apply. She gave me a stack of scholarship applications. And she said, you're going to read the criteria on some of these, and it's not going to fit, but I want you to apply for everything. And I did. I spent my weekends filling out applications. And that night, the scholarship night, which my parents were very reluctant to want to go to. And, the story would be that, really behind the scenes of that, my mom and dad were very realistic and logical, and they hated to see our dreams. I had been a dreamer from a little girl. I had said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I always had this like passion, and they were always like bringing my feet back down on the ground. And I kept thinking, is there something wrong with me? Like, why am I, if I'm thinking this way, why are they like raining on my parade? Like I thought the way I thought was fine. And, they expressed to me on the way to the scholarship dinner, there was a family conversation, and it was kind of like, listen, we're really proud of you. You've done an incredible job. You've worked really hard. You've gotten great grades. You should be so proud of everything that you've done. And no matter what happens tonight, we're really proud of you. And I'm sitting there like, that sounds like a concession speech to me. And we haven't even gotten there. Like, they got no faith in me. Like, what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to win some scholarships tonight. Like, I'm in the back seat. Like, I'm going to show my mom and dad, like, just how hard I've worked. Like, I don't think they even know yet. And I would win over 30% of the scholarships of that night, and I would bring my class to their feet in like the first in my lifetime moments that were so pivotal. You know, that one night that everything's going to change, and years and days and weeks and you know, to know that the people are behind me. And you want to know what's funny? I've had a lot of those moments in my life, and I'm in one of those moments right now. I am going to the scholarship dinner right now in my life this year. And I have that graduating class is the whole banking industry watching me. And they're saying, go, Christine, go. Like, I feel like I've got that behind me this year. And thank you. I mean that, you know, for everybody that is fanning my flames, stepping up, lending themselves to me, leaning on the influence of people that are going to hire me or are hiring me. And I don't know why. I don't know why, other than I think I'm being authentically real. I'm taking risks that reminds people of the human spirit and what we all want at the core of who we are in our lives. We want to take risks. We want people to believe in us. And so, yeah, you know, my mom and dad would that night look at me differently than I think they'd ever looked at me. And that would continue for the remainder of their lives. They're alive today, thank God. And they've seen me publish books. They've seen me be on the cover of magazines. My father, last year, Jenna and Candy made a book that has all the magazines I was in. It's a complete book. I was in a ton of magazines last year, and that was my father's Christmas gift. And he would sit there with this book. I was the subject of 2 crossword puzzles last year. Her Words was the title of the crossword puzzle. And they're like, this is our, you know. And so they never ever said to me again, your dreams are too lofty. In fact, they've said, when Christine sets her mind to something, she's going to do it. Yeah. That's what they say today. She's going to do it. And I said to my mother the other day, she said, how's the company going? I says, good. And she doesn't know business like I do. And I know that's a generic question for her to ask. And I said, it's going really good. We're selling accounts, we're doing whatever. I said, it's amazing to me, like, you know, it's starting to pick up. And she's like, I never had a doubt. She goes, I have not a doubt. She said, we know you're going to succeed. We have not worried about you. I thought they would when I quit Annie Mac. And they said, no, it's, you know, this is the next part.